Ethan Carter always thought his marriage to Samantha was unshakable. After 5 years together, he believed they had built a solid foundation of trust and love. He admired her drive as a marketing executive and often bragged about her brilliance to his friends. But one small detail began to unravel everything he thought he knew about his wife, her wedding ring. It started with a picture on her company's Instagram page. Samantha stood with her colleagues at a networking event, smiling confidently. Ethan's eyes went to her hand instinctively. The ring he had slipped onto her finger during their vows was missing. He brought it up casually that evening. "I saw the office post. You looked great, but I noticed you weren't wearing your wedding ring. Did you forget it?" Samantha barely looked up from her phone. "Oh, that? Yeah, I must have left it at home that day. You know how chaotic mornings can be." Her tone was dismissive, and Ethan let it slide. But as the days turned into weeks, he began noticing a pattern. Samantha never seemed to wear her ring to work, not at meetings, not at events, and not even in the photos she shared with her colleagues. Each time he asked, her answers felt rehearsed and shallow. When I confronted her, her excuse was more painful than the betrayal itself, Ethan would later recall. That moment shattered everything he thought he knew about love and loyalty. Ethan's suspicions started small, like tiny cracks in a seemingly sturdy wall. Samantha had always been busy with work, but lately her late nights at the office had become more frequent. Back-to-back meetings, she'd say. Big campaigns coming up. Ethan tried to be supportive, even when it meant eating dinner alone. But there were signs he couldn't ignore. Samantha had become distant, her laughter quieter and her conversations with him surface level at best. When they did spend time together, her phone was a constant presence, buzzing with notifications or clutched tightly in her hand. Ethan tried to chalk it up to stress. She was in a competitive field, after all. But then came the day he decided to surprise her at work. It had been months since they'd had a proper lunch together, and he thought it might brighten her day. With her favorite sushi in hand, he walked into her office building, feeling a bit nervous but mostly excited. At the front desk, the receptionist greeted him warmly but seemed hesitant when he asked for Samantha. "Oh, she's in a meeting right now," the woman said, her eyes darting toward the conference room. Through the glass walls, Ethan spotted Samantha. She wasn't alone. Sitting across from her was a tall, well-dressed man Ethan didn't recognize. They were leaning toward each other, laughing. The man had a casual confidence about him, his body language too familiar for Ethan's liking. Ethan felt a pang of jealousy but quickly pushed it aside. He waited in the lobby for a while, hoping the meeting would end, but after half an hour he left, the sushi growing cold in his hands. That evening, Ethan asked how her day had gone. Samantha's response was vague. "Just meetings all day," she said, brushing him off. She didn't mention the man from the conference room. The seed of doubt planted weeks earlier began to grow into something Ethan couldn't ignore. Ethan's unease grew with each passing day. Samantha's behavior was too suspicious to ignore. The woman who used to share every detail of her day now seemed to live in a world he wasn't part of. One evening, while Samantha was in the shower, Ethan's curiosity got the better of him. He picked up her phone, a line he had promised himself he'd never cross. His hands shook as he unlocked it. The messages weren't overtly romantic, but they were enough to make his stomach churn. A name appeared repeatedly: Nathan Collins. Their texts were full of inside jokes and playful banter. One message stood out: "Last night was amazing. Can't wait for next time." Ethan felt a cold wave of disbelief wash over him. Was this the man from the conference room? Who exactly was Nathan to Samantha? Instead of confronting her immediately, Ethan decided to dig deeper. Over the next few weeks, he paid closer attention to her routines. He noticed how she always forgot her wedding ring before heading to work, how her phone lit up with notifications late into the night, how she seemed to grow more defensive whenever he asked about her colleagues. One night, while Samantha was asleep, Ethan did something he never thought he'd do. He went through her email. He found more messages between her and Nathan, their tone casual yet intimate. Nathan had sent her an email with the subject line, "Looking forward to tomorrow." That included a dinner reservation confirmation. The final nail in the coffin came when Ethan decided to follow her after work one evening. She had told him she'd be home late because of a team meeting instead. He watched from a distance as she walked into a restaurant with Nathan. Ethan couldn't hold back any longer. That night, he waited for Samantha to return home. She walked in, her demeanor casual, as if nothing had happened. "We need to talk," Ethan said, his voice firm. Samantha froze, sensing the seriousness in his tone. "What's wrong?" "Why don't you wear your wedding ring at work anymore?" Ethan asked, his gaze piercing. Samantha hesitated. "I told you, it's uncomfortable when I'm typing." "Cut the lies." Ethan interrupted, pulling out his phone. He showed her the texts and emails he had found. "Explain this. Who is Nathan, and what exactly did he mean by last night was amazing?" Samantha's face turned pale. She stammered, trying to find the words. "It's not what you think, Ethan. Nathan is just a friend, a colleague. We're close, but it's not like that. Friends don't go on secret dinner dates. Friends don't make you take off your wedding ring," Ethan snapped. Finally, Samantha broke. She admitted she had been pretending to be single at work. "It makes things easier," she said quietly. "People treat you differently when they know you're married, especially in my field. Nathan is important to my career." Ethan's voice cracked. "So, you sacrificed our marriage to fit in at work? That's your excuse?" The weight of Samantha's betrayal was too much for Ethan to bear. It wasn't just about the affair, it was the calculated nature of her actions. She had chosen ambition over honesty, her career over their marriage. That night, Ethan packed a bag and left their home. Samantha begged him to stay, tears streaming down her face, but his mind was made up. As Ethan drove away, he felt a mix of heartbreak and relief. He had loved Samantha deeply, but he couldn't stay with someone who had so blatantly disregarded the vows they had made. Thank you for watching this emotional and heartbreaking story. Have you ever experienced betrayal or struggled with trust in a relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more compelling stories. Until next time, take care.